facing the first homeowners, home buyers, and the sellers. What about your industry overall? Is there anything that you'd like to touch upon for people that are watching?
I think for my industry, in the information age, one of the things we're finding, particularly with younger folks, is that information is readily available to them now, but knowledge isn't. And there's a real distinction. And you can go on the net and you can do it, these home estimator programs, and some of them are more accurate than others, but for the most part the error factor is astronomical.
Sure.
So you think you know more than you do, and you've got a lot of information, but you don't really have the fleshed out knowledge that you need to make informed decisions. I publish twice a year a synopsis of 3 towns, the real estate activity, Wellesley, Weston, and Needham. And I give everybody well, they're here, and I'll show you what they look like.
Sure.
And
these are informational?
Informational reports that really detail by price band specifically what happened and how it compares to the previous year.
Sure.
And then I try to give some perspective on it and where it went and why it went there. And lots of folks tend to like this. We distribute it to all single-family households in all 3 towns.
That's great.
And it is useful for folks, but it's always interesting to me. The one chart that they love better than all else that I provide is the ratio between your assessed value and fair market value. And people look at that and kind of get out their calculators, and they look at that as a do-it-yourself, this is what my home is worth kit. It isn't that. So this knowledge that is available only through, I feel, working with an expert. But information is readily available on the net in so many different ways that there are some misconceptions that folks have, and ways in which but buyers in particular can go down the wrong road.
I know a lot has to do with A, technology, and B, marketing, advertising these websites to go on. I won't mention one particular, but I know there is a website you can plug in your address and it will give you, what you should ask for, what your house is worth. I personally I'm not sure how accurate those are, and if they take into account recent updates, etc. But I know a lot of people, based on the advertising and what you're seeing on TV, hearing on the radio, the pop-ups that come on when you're on the computer, that's what a lot of younger people, I know at least through my friends, etc., they gear towards those because they're right in their face. So again, I think that's the information, maybe not the knowledge.
It's the information, but not the knowledge.
Right.
Precisely that. And I think that technology has changed my industry to a large degree in providing all these tools. And here's where it's the wonderful component of technology changing the industry. It's when I started in the business, the multiple listing service, which would put your listings in.
MLS.
MLS, right.
Also known as.
Also known as MLS, would publish what looked like the yellow pages, yay thick, every 2 weeks is how you would find about it through snail mail.
And, I never knew that.
Yes, and they would be delivered. A truck would deliver them to the real estate office, and a fellow would bring in boxes of these huge phone books that we'd distribute to the brokers. On the front of that phone book was the cover, would say, not for public viewing. So you couldn't give it to a consumer to look through, to leaf through.
Oh, it was just for the brokers to use as a tool.
Yes. So when you decided what your client or customer would see, the way it would occur. is the broker would filter everything because the buyer had no way to see what was on the market. So the broker would filter everything and say, these are the 6 houses I'm showing you today. Well, you know, brokers aren't always the best filters. Now the buyer is deciding what they're going to see. They will say to their broker, 6 houses I want to see today.
Because they did the research
they can
online,
do it.
printed
That
it out.
information is available.
Sure.
Yes.
Wow.
So that's a very good thing. The thing that is not as good, I would say, is buyers feeling that they can go to a real estate office that they know so much information. So I'm going to call my Aunt Sally, who lives in Tewksbury, to go buy my house in South Natick, because I know what the values are, and I know what the market's done, and et cetera. So Aunt Sally comes to drive them down, or their friend, or whoever. I'm bringing my friend in, and that's the broker who's my buyer's agent. Now, if Aunt Sally, and this has happened to me many times with relatives, if Aunt Sally knows what's best for her client, she's going to say, you know, I can't help you because I don't really have any knowledge of that market.
Right. And again, it's very important.
Very important.
Town by town.
You need a local expert.
Right.
And so Aunt Sally will pick up the phone and find a local expert in that area to help them. And that's the best way she can help them. But I see this a lot where young people from the Boston area are using their Boston brokers to come to the western suburbs. It's one of the most perilous, financially perilous, and other things to do is use a broker not from the area. I'll give you some classic examples. On a street very close to where I live, a house came on the market priced for $2.3 million.
Wow.
All of the local brokers went, and we were that first group of Bs. Yeah. We didn't bring any buyers back because we knew it was so overpriced.
Right.
It should have been 1.8. And the house sat on the market only about 30 days. And an out-of-town broker came with her out-of-town buyer and paid $2.2 million for the house.
Wow.
Now that buyer that's a lovely person. I've met the people. They're never going to know until they go to sell how how much, you know, that really was not the apparent value. Right? Somebody might argue with, well, a buyer paid that, so it was the value, but it wasn't the general consensus of value. And it happens, there are other ways in which people have told me, it's obvious to someone that there's a busy street when there's a double yellow line.
Sure.
If there's no double yellow line, you may not know it's a huge commuter cut through.
Sure.
And there's no way your child should be riding a tricycle on that street.
Right.
I live on such a street. Looks very slow and pastoral, but it isn't.
Okay.
I've heard people tell me they didn't realize that the commuter rail was behind their heavy forested property. So all of these things can happen. Using a local broker not only will stop that, it's vital.
Okay.
Not only will stop that, but that local broker lives in town. They're going to help you get connected to all of the neighborhood organizations, to all of the community things.
Which is all important.
Oh, it's critical. So I really would say if there's one thing that people need to remember, it's really find your local expert.
Great.
So
thank you, Elaine.
You're very welcome.
We appreciate you coming on today to the BBB.
Oh, a pleasure.
We have to wrap up now.
Okay.
If people are looking to contact you, where would they go?
Well,
what URL?
Our phone number, you can reach us at pinnaclehouses.com.
Okay.
Or our phone number is easy. It's 781-237-5000.
Thank you so much. For more information on this industry, buying or selling a home, please visit bbb.org. Thanks for tuning in. Thank you.
Thank you, Paula.